In 1945, the map of Europe was redrawn. One city changed not just its borders, but its entire identity. Königsberg, a German cultural center for centuries, ceased to exist. In its place rose Kaliningrad, a Russian military stronghold. This video will take you on a journey through time, revealing how a slice of German Prussia became a critical asset for Russian strategy in Europe. It's a tale of war, power, and geopolitical chess that continues to shape world events today. The year was 1945, and the once proud German city of Königsberg lay in ruins. For centuries, this cultural jewel of East Prussia had been a beacon of German identity, philosophy, and architecture. But as the Soviet Red Army advanced westward in the final months of World War II, Königsberg's fate hung in the balance. The siege of Königsberg began on January 6, 1945. Soviet forces, battle-hardened and driven by a thirst for revenge against Nazi Germany, surrounded the city. For nearly 3 months, the inhabitants endured relentless bombardment and dwindling supplies. On April 9th, the city's defenses finally crumbled, and Soviet troops poured into the streets. With Königsberg's fall, the map of Europe was about to be redrawn. At the Potsdam Conference in July 1945, the Allied powers made a fateful decision. East Prussia would be divided, with the northern third, including Königsberg, placed under Soviet administration. This was not a temporary arrangement. It was to be a permanent redrawing of borders. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Nearly all of Königsberg's German residents were expelled or fled westward. Those who remained faced a harsh new reality. In 1946, the Soviet authorities made their intentions clear. Königsberg would cease to exist. In its place would rise Kaliningrad, named after Mikhail Kalinin, a prominent Bolshevik revolutionary. The transformation was not merely cosmetic. Soviet authorities embarked on a campaign to erase all traces of the city's German heritage. Street names were changed, German inscriptions were removed from buildings, and even the graves in cemeteries were not spared. The famous Königsberg Cathedral, a symbol of the city for centuries, lay in ruins, a physical embodiment of the old order's destruction. As German residents were pushed out, Soviet citizens were brought in to repopulate the area. They came from all corners of the vast USSR: Russians, Belarusians, Ukrainians, and others. Many were veterans of the war, rewarded with homes in this newly acquired territory. For them, Kaliningrad was not just a new home, but a symbol of Soviet victory over fascism. But why did Stalin insist on keeping this slice of former German territory? The answer lies in strategy and symbolism. Kaliningrad provided the Soviet Union with a critical warm water port on the Baltic Sea, free from ice year-round. This was a valuable asset for a nation often struggling with frozen harbors. Moreover, it offered a forward military position, a dagger pointed at the heart of Europe. Perhaps equally important was the symbolic value. By transforming a bastion of German culture into a Soviet outpost, Stalin sent a powerful message about the new world order. It was a constant reminder to the West of Soviet power and the consequences of challenging it. As the Cold War set in, Kaliningrad's strategic importance only grew. The city became a closed military zone, off-limits to foreigners and even most Soviet citizens. Its harbors filled with warships, its skies patrolled by fighter jets. The once cultural center had become a fortress, a watchful eye keeping tabs on NATO forces across the Baltic. As the Iron Curtain descended across Europe, Kaliningrad emerged as the Soviet Union's westernmost outpost. This small piece of land, nestled between Poland and Lithuania, became a fortress on the front lines of the Cold War. Its transformation from a ruined German city to a vital military asset was swift and absolute. The Soviet leadership recognized Kaliningrad's unique strategic value almost immediately. Its ice-free port on the Baltic Sea was a rare prize, offering year-round naval access in a region where winter often froze harbors solid. This made Kaliningrad an ideal base for the Soviet Baltic fleet. which soon established its headquarters in the city. Ships could deploy quickly, projecting Soviet naval power into the heart of Europe and keeping a watchful eye on NATO movements. But Kaliningrad's military significance extended far beyond its maritime advantages. The region became a heavily fortified bastion, bristling with defenses. Anti-aircraft batteries scanned the skies, while radar installations probed for any sign of Western incursion. Underground bunkers and missile silos were constructed, ready to launch a devastating counterattack if the Cold War ever turned hot. The Soviet military poured resources into Kaliningrad, turning it into a closed zone off-limits to outsiders. Even Soviet citizens needed special permission to enter or leave. This isolation allowed for unchecked militarization. Airfields were expanded to accommodate squadrons of fighter jets and bombers. Tank divisions rumbled through streets once known for their Prussian architecture. The remnants of old Königsberg were buried under a new landscape of barracks, armories, and training grounds. Kaliningrad's position as a forward base against NATO cannot be overstated. It was a dagger pointed at the heart of Western Europe, capable of disrupting NATO operations in the Baltic region. From here, Soviet forces could potentially cut off the Baltic states from the rest of NATO, creating a strategic nightmare for Western military planners. The presence of nuclear weapons, neither confirmed nor denied by Soviet authorities, added another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. The closed nature of Kaliningrad during this period meant that its true military capabilities remained a mystery to the West. This uncertainty itself became a strategic asset, forcing NATO to prepare for worst-case scenarios. Intelligence agencies on both sides played a constant game of cat and mouse, trying to uncover or protect the secrets hidden within Kaliningrad's borders. For the inhabitants of Kaliningrad, life revolved around the military presence. The economy was geared towards supporting the armed forces, with many civilians working in defense-related industries. The constant state of readiness permeated every aspect of society, from education to recreation. Children grew up amid military parades and air raid drills, their worldview shaped by the geopolitical realities of their unique home. As the Cold War dragged on, Kaliningrad's importance as an early warning station grew. Advanced radar systems were installed, capable of detecting missile launches or aircraft movements deep into NATO territory. This early warning capability was crucial in maintaining the delicate balance of mutually assured destruction that defined the era. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a seismic shift for Kaliningrad. Once a closed military zone, this small piece of Russian territory suddenly found itself cut off from the motherland, sandwiched between newly independent nations. The collapse of the Iron Curtain left Kaliningrad in a unique and precarious position, an island of Russia surrounded by an emerging European Union. Russian leaders, recognizing the potential peril and promise of this situation, made a bold move. They designated Kaliningrad as a Special Economic Zone, SEZ, in 1991. The vision was ambitious: transform this former military outpost into a thriving economic hub, a Hong Kong on the Baltic. Free from taxes and duties, Kaliningrad was meant to become a bridge between Russia and the West, integrating closely with European economies while maintaining its Russian identity. However, the dream of economic prosperity soon collided with geopolitical realities. In 1999, Poland joined NATO, followed by both Poland and Lithuania becoming EU members in 2004. These developments complicated life for Kaliningrad. Suddenly, what was once a simple journey to mainland Russia became an international crossing, subject to new regulations and restrictions. The exclave found itself increasingly isolated, its economic ambitions stifled by its complex geopolitical situation. The challenges only mounted in the following years. Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 triggered a wave of Western sanctions that hit Kaliningrad hard. The economic benefits that had made the region attractive to businesses were significantly reduced. Today, the average wage in Kaliningrad hovers around $400 a month, a stark contrast to the Russian average of nearly $1,500. The promise of prosperity has given way to economic struggle for many of its residents. Yet even as its economic fortunes waned, Kaliningrad's strategic importance to Russia has only grown. Since 2015, the region has seen a significant military buildup. The deployment of Iskander missile systems capable of striking major European capitals sent shockwaves through NATO. These missiles, combined with Kaliningrad's strategic location, give Russia a powerful deterrent and a potential first strike capability deep into Europe. The narrow strip of land known as the Suwalki Corridor, connecting Poland and Lithuania, has become a focal point of tension. NATO strategists worry that Russian forces advancing from Kaliningrad and Belarus could easily isolate this corridor, potentially cutting off the Baltic states from the rest of NATO. This vulnerability underscores Kaliningrad's outsized role in the region's security calculus. As tensions between Russia and the West have escalated in recent years, Kaliningrad has found itself at the center of a new Cold War-like standoff. Its isolation has deepened, with Western sanctions making trade and travel more difficult. In response, Russia has doubled down on the region's military significance, viewing it as a crucial outpost in its strategic competition with NATO. As we return to the tense standoff in Kaliningrad, we now understand the weight of history behind this moment. From German cultural center to Soviet military bastion, and now a Russian exclave surrounded by NATO, Kaliningrad embodies the shifting tides of European power. Today, Kaliningrad remains a critical asset for Russia, its strategic location and military capabilities making it a powerful chess piece in the complex game of international relations. As NATO forces eye the region warily, Russia continues to reinforce its presence, underscoring Kaliningrad's role as a potential flashpoint. The story of this small territory serves as a microcosm of larger geopolitical tensions, a reminder that the echoes of past conflicts continue to shape our present. As sirens blare and troops stand ready, Kaliningrad stands as a testament to the enduring impact of history on modern global affairs. If you like this short documentary, make sure to subscribe and leave a like.